Guys, we're back, and this time we're talking about the state government. Now, how is the state government different from the federal government? Well, there are a few things that are a little bit different, but it functions in much of the same way. In fact, like the federal government, each state has its own state constitution. The federal and state constitutions share many of the same purposes. Both governments aim to protect the individual rights of the citizens and provide rules for governing. Most state constitutions outline laws, such as requiring a balanced budget, the right to free public education, and providing for the health and safety of its citizens. All state constitutions outline the three branches of government and their separation of powers. So, let's go ahead and talk about those three branches again. They're the same on the state level that they are on the federal level. We have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And they function in much the same way. The governor is the head of the executive branch at the state level, and it's the governor's responsibility to carry out the laws created by the legislative branch. Also, his responsibility to plan and budget for the state along with his cabinet members. Those are other people that work alongside him to make sure that the laws get carried out. The next branch of government is the legislative branch, and it's the legislative branch's job to make the laws. Now, this branch consists of two different groups. We call them houses. Two houses. One is the Senate, and the other is the House of Representatives. Now, the people who work in the Senate are called senators, and the people who work in the House of Representatives are called representatives. Now, these people, they make the laws, but they make them together, and they don't do it without the input of the people who have voted for them. Both senators and representatives are elected to their position by the citizens of the state. Both senators and representatives then write bills and vote on whether or not they should become law. Once a law is made, it is then sent to the executive branch. Now, the governor, he can look over a law and he has veto power. So he can say, I don't think this is a good law, and he can put his stamp on it and say no. That is an example of checks and balances. The judicial branch is made up of the judges and the courts. It's the judicial branch's job to interpret or to explain the laws so that people understand them. The highest court in Florida is called the Supreme Court. Now, if that sounds familiar, it should, because there's a Supreme Court at the federal level as well. The Supreme Court usually consists of 7 to 9 justices who review the most important cases from the lower courts to make sure that everything was handled correctly. So now you have a better understanding of the state government. See how it's a lot like the federal government? And that's the point, that both governments would act in much the same manner, that they would have 3 branches, and that they would be divided in such a way that no one person would have too much power, not too much by the federal government, not too much by the state government, and not too much by any one person in that government. Thanks for watching, and study hard.